Hey everyone, welcome. I don't remember what device I've got set up here, so I'll put on my headset just in case. Let me double check. Default, that's super useful. Let's try a headset. There we go. Hopefully either way you can hear me. Let me power up a device and double check that we are live and that audio is working fine. Hey everyone, welcome. There we go. So either way, it's working. So this morning, I thought we could chat for a minute about Support Saturdays and what's the other one? Security Saturday. And hashtags on LinkedIn. I have a colleague that I used to work with from Microsoft. And Jeremy, every Saturday, comes up with a post. And it's about his Just Do the Basics newsletter. And let's see if he's posted one this week yet. I have the notification bell turned on, so I see his notifications in my notifications tab in LinkedIn, which is super helpful to see what he has posted. And I can also search for things like Support Saturdays as a hashtag and find all sorts of posts that include that. I can search for posts here. I can find the group that was started. And if I find a post with Support Saturdays in it, plural, I can click on it to go to the hashtag statistics. I can see that over 17,000 followers have Support Saturdays. That's something that they are looking for. And if I go through the posts, I'll find my post, I'll find anything that's promoted, but I'll find lots of people that are supporting others in finding work. This started in India, and the idea was that you tag Support Saturdays and people assist with just visibility of your request. So I can say all the best, use the @ symbol, which will bring up the person that posted this particular item. And by liking or reacting and commenting, there's a good chance that more people will see this request. And then I can go back a couple here. We can go back to here, scroll, and find another person that's looking for a job. Same kind of thing. All the best, @ symbol, user. And I can do the reactions. Andy Foote mentioned that the purple baby, Curious, is his least used of all of the reactions. They're coming up with a funny, and Andy is probably the first person I'm going to use that funny reaction with, because I thought that purple baby was a perfect description of the reaction that I use the least amount. Insightful, occasionally, I'll find things that I find insightful on LinkedIn, but a lot of times I'm not finding things curious. So here is Support Saturdays and the group that was, or this is actually a company page, it looks like. Yep, company page. And it was started by Poonam and Vinod, I believe, is the other individual I've seen credited with starting it. There might be a third, but it's a great hashtag movement and support for others. So I love this hashtag. I try to grab it every Saturday and find a couple posts to promote. And other hashtags that I have come across that I love are Microsoft 365, MVP Buzz, um, other types of kind of geeky Microsoft centered hashtags. So you can click on a hashtag when you find it in somebody's post. And then if you follow the hashtag, you will get notifications about that in your feed, either in your news feed or your notifications. So Ricardo went live this morning with Coffee with the Cowbell. I set up a couple paired streams with him on Restream. So if you saw Ricardo on my company page, my personal page, Twitter, YouTube, what else? Facebook, Ricardo Wilkins discovered the Restream pairs. He joined me on Friday for a little bit, and we chatted about Restream, we chatted about Teams, and he had just the best podcast this morning, or LinkedIn Live, talking about some of the aspects of Teams and the groups that sit behind Microsoft Teams. And it was super insightful. It was something that I really enjoyed learning about because it was something that I had struggled to explain to people in courses that I teach. So if I go to my Office 365 tenant here, and I go into my groups, you can see I have a DESA group. And if I go into the settings of the DESA private group, you'll notice that it's set up to receive all emails and events. And what Ricardo taught us was if you have other groups like this interview group, a public group for that, and you go into the three dots and the settings for the group, this one is set up to receive only replies to you and group events. And then he also pointed out that there's an edit group feature where I can do things like decide what's happening with external email settings and subscription settings. And these can control, if you're using channel meetings in Teams, whether people get the invites or not. So I found that helpful in tracking down, where are these settings that I know are different, because as a Teams trainer, technical trainer, doing admin work, doing end user work, the most frustrating thing for users would be they would send a channel meeting invite, maybe in a discovery session where they're just playing around with Teams. You have usually 12 to 15 participants. They're doing different things in Teams. They're kind of learning from each other. You're learning from them. You're sharing those learnings with others. And, one time, oh, everybody got the meeting and it's in Outlook and it's in Teams, which is how I usually describe Teams meetings. It's everything that's on your Outlook calendar. And then every once in a while, unbeknownst to me, and something that I hadn't been able to track down specifically, somebody'd say, Dan, I scheduled this channel meeting, but it's not on my calendar. And then other people would say, oh, it's on my calendar, but some would say it wasn't. And it was typically one of those things that I just had to say, well, if you didn't invite anybody to the meeting, that might be an explanation. Ricardo's explanation this morning was perfect in tracking down these details. First line worker member group that I have in my tenant. I don't want to go to the notebook. I want to go to the settings. And these settings can be changed. So if you're getting too many notifications, you can obviously turn off certain aspects and then leave the group kind of just there for first line workers, but they're not getting all sorts of notifications from it. But Teams is the other place that I can look at groups. SharePoint is another place that groups, Microsoft 365 groups, show up. And it was super helpful just to hear from Ricardo and some of this troubleshooting. And I realized I am not sharing my screen. So you can't see what I'm talking about here. This was golden information that Ricardo laid down on us this morning in Coffee what is it? Coffee for Teams, I think, is the Saturday morning event that he hosts. He hosts Cute for Teams on Fridays. He hosts a decaf show on either Tuesday or Thursday evenings. And then his Saturday morning show is, he has another name for it. It's awesome. So the settings that I was just showing to myself instead of all of you that are either watching this live or that watch this later on LinkedIn, we're on YouTube, we're on other platforms, are two things. Support Saturdays, super, super useful from a hashtag perspective. So I can go to a hashtag of Support Saturdays. I can see how many people are following Support Saturdays. And then I can do the same for other hashtags like Microsoft 365. Find the hashtag used somewhere, see how many people are following it just by clicking on it. See how popular it is. And then if you're not following, you can follow or you can unfollow hashtags. So if I want to see how many people are following Microsoft Teams, another one I am following. And then if I want to see just Microsoft, this should be much more popular with almost 250,000 followers. And then the other thing we looked at is the elusive, why do some channel meetings have everybody invited to them and why do some channel meetings not have everybody invited to them? It can be the setting. I'm in Outlook for the web. I'm looking at my different groups that I have, Microsoft 365 groups. I'm going into the details in Outlook for the web, the three dots, settings. Notice that some of these settings are different. This is, I believe, the definitive answer to why sometimes a channel meeting shows up on everybody in the team's calendar and sometimes doesn't. And Ricardo Wilkins, I give you the accolade for discovering this and sharing it with all of those Teams administrators and Teams fanatics, I think is the term you call them, or us. So that was awesome to learn today. Thank you so much for sharing that. So I have a first line worker group behind my team, and it's not receiving all email and events. And I have an Outlook customer manager public group, and it is receiving all email and events. So right there, we have settings that are different for different groups that I have set up in my environment, which explain why sometimes I see the meetings on my calendar and sometimes I don't. The other thing that I shared probably by myself was, besides Support Saturdays, Security Saturday, which was a hashtag that has a whole 10 followers, but it's something that I typically use when Jeremy posts about his blog. So you can click on it to see how many followers there are. And then usually what I do is when Jeremy Windmiller from Microsoft posts his Security Saturday, justdothebasics.com newsletter, I will tag that hashtag and I will post about it. Microsoft Teams, we can see there are 30,000 followers of that hashtag. And then Microsoft, almost 250,000 followers. So finding more popular hashtags is super helpful on social media. And then even creating your own hashtags that maybe you are the owner that started, I shouldn't say owner, the person that started the hashtag, or you are the person that starts using the hashtag. I guess you don't even have to really own the hashtag. But we've got a lot of posts that use Microsoft Teams, and I can go through those and then discover other people that are passionate about Teams here's somebody, Alta, that I haven't connected with. So I can click on follow and start following his posts. If they are in another language on LinkedIn, I can see a translation, which is super helpful and allows me to feel more connected to others, even at first glance, if I'm maybe not understanding what they're posting. The translation feature on LinkedIn is super, super helpful. So those are just a couple things that I will share with you on Support Saturdays. The other thing I should probably share is how I created the presentation that we used for our countdown. This is something that I discovered fairly recently. You can set up in PowerPoint a shape that disappears over time. You can set up the duration for the shape. And then I can use videos to do either a countdown or a break video or other types of use within PowerPoint. So how I did this was I created a slide. I used under the insert menu in PowerPoint, the media and video from stock videos. These are freely available, so you don't have to worry about copyrights. And then that's how I dropped in the various backgrounds for these slides. Let's create another one and we'll see how this works. Create another one, insert, media, video, stock videos. And then I just searched for topics that I want to see. You can see some of the videos that come up. I searched for people, and I have people in a meeting. I have this one that I used, and design ideas suggested making it black and white. That way my text on top of it stands out a little bit more. I'm not sure. This one's people walking. So I can select one, insert, makes it full screen. And then I can actually just take my captions here. See if I can highlight them. We talked about a feature that I'll show you here shortly in PowerPoint. If I keep on moving the video, I can actually hit the video layer and I can lock it. That way, when I'm selecting things, I'm not accidentally selecting over and over and over the video layer. That's something that does not appear to work on the Mac platform. I didn't see the lock feature for different layers. It might be somewhere else or it might be missing. So I can put those on top and then I can grab my bar at the bottom and I can copy it and I can paste it into this slide. Now I have to change a couple other things, but I should have a bar that disappears for a minute. And then I put the text over towards the left-hand side so that by the time that disappears, you're within a minute of going live. So that's a little bit about the PowerPoint design that I used for my intro. I could create a leaving thank you for attending video by changing some of these and maybe saying something else besides we'll start in a few minutes. So let's go ahead and throw this up into my MVP folder here. We'll consider this a contribution. I'll make it available for download. Let's do MVP 2022 and let's call this one Support Saturdays. And I will send a link to folks. And it looks like I need to sign into my account to get this working. So I'll do that and I will see you on the next Support Saturdays. Thanks for attending, everyone.